Oh, that was easy. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Welcome back to my channel, everybody. It's Leah with SkinBeautifulrx. I'm joined today by Ben Fuchs from Truth Treatments, one of my favorite guests ever talked to because he is so knowledgeable on everything, health, skin, just everything, all beauty. So I love having you on. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for the kind words. And speaking of beauty, you are amazing.
Lighting.
You must be taking special beauty pills
Yes.
or something because every time we
I'm
talk to you.
taking your supplements.
Oh, awesome. Those
Yeah.
are beauty pills.
They are, yep. Well, perfect. Well, speaking of supplements and supplements for the skin, I have been doing a deep dive into fulvic acid, fulvic
Yeah.
minerals, colloidal minerals, and I found it really, really interesting, which spurred that on was something you had spoke on YouTube so many years ago. And I realized the importance of these ingredients in our skincare. And I think a lot
Yeah.
of people know about like the antioxidants and they know about growth factors and they know all of that stuff, but there's actually like a wealth of importance for having these minerals in our skincare too. So can you kind of do like a brief overview and then we'll talk about the skincare in particular? Like does fulvic acid and fulvic minerals do for us?
Well, it's really hard for me to be brief, as you
Yes,
know.
I know.
But
I have a timer on you.
okay, I'll try to be brief. All right. So I'm a nutritionist before I'm anything else. That's my main modality, my main healing modality. And while, beauty, we all want to have beautiful, glowing, soft skin. Obviously, healthy skin is beautiful skin. And
Hmm.
we can hack into the skin to make it appear beautiful. In fact, even just makeup is a sort of hack to make the
Hmm.
skin to appear healthy. And even just makeup is a way of having the skin appear healthy. We can inject fillers to make the skin appear healthy. We can do Botox to have the skin appear healthy. And there's nothing really wrong with those things. But to me, as a healthcare professional, and I don't really know much about beauty, but I know about health. And
Hmm.
I know that when you change the health of the tissue, of the skin or any tissue, you make it more beautiful. And I
Hmm.
know that the things we don't like about our skin, whether it's the wrinkles, the fine lines, the thinning, the dark spots, the dryness, those are not beauty concerns. Those are health concerns.
Hmm.
And so being a healthcare professional gives me a very interesting take on formulation. There's not a lot of healthcare professionals who are actually formulating skincare products. I know there's a lot of doctors out there who have their names on products, but they're not in the lab formulating. They're not actually making products specifically for patients. What I saw in the pharmacy was when I started to use nutrition in my topical formulations, and Truth Treatments are essentially topical nutritional supplements, as well as recommending nutritional supplements internally, people's skin got dramatically better. Everything you want in a beauty product is a function of nutrition. And while you can use things that sort of make the skin look a certain way with silicone and vegetable oil and perhaps some plant materials, if you really want the skin to be healthy, you have to have nutrients. The nutrients that I'm talking about are technically referred to as essential nutrients. You've heard that term, essential amino acids, essential fatty acids, essential nutrients. What does the word essential mean? It means you better have it or you're dead. Now, right? So air is essential. No
Hmm.
air, you die.
Hmm.
Vitamin C is essential. Retinol or vitamin A is essential. Minerals are essential. You don't have them, you die. Now, most people don't have zero, so they're not going to die, but they have not enough to be maximally healthy, i.e., maximally beautiful. We're
Hmm.
leaving health and beauty on the table. We're leaving health on the table internally if we don't understand nutritional supplementation. And that's why we've got more medical protocols than any other culture in the history of mankind. And we're the sickest and the fattest and the most diabetes ridden, and our life expectancy drops every year. We're leaving health on the table because we don't understand nutrition. And we're leaving beauty on the table because we don't understand nutrition. What is cool about the skin is you can nutriate the skin, obviously inside out. You should. That's why we have supplements. That's why you want to eat correctly. That's why you want to correct intestinal problems. So what's beautiful about the skin is you can feed it from the outside in.
Hmm.
And this is something I learned in pharmacy school, is that you can, if you formulate a product correctly, you can drive nutrients through the surface of the skin to the lower levels where the living cells reside. You see, the surface of the skin that we're always treating and we're always looking at, that's dead.
Hmm.
That's made up of dead cells. The good stuff, the viable tissue, the living cells are in the basal layer. And when you can get a nutritional ingredient, whether it's vitamin C or vitamin E or retinol, vitamin A, or fulvic minerals, if you can get those ingredients through the stratum corneum to the basal layer, where the keratinocytes, the basal cells are, you can have dramatic effects on the skin. Not just beauty effects, Leah, and this is what I discovered in my compounding pharmacy, but healing effects for burns, for traumas, for skin diseases like eczema and acne, for even just plain old dry skin and hyperpigmented skin, if you can access those lower levels with nutrients. Now, as far as fulvic goes, the fulvic minerals, right? That's what you asked me about?
That's, yep.
A long time ago. That's what you asked me
about. That was perfect.
They are the coolest molecules. You know, I was teasing you before we got on the air. I said, I was talking to you about the most powerful substance on planet Earth. What is the most powerful substance on planet Earth? Well, before you answer that, let me tell you this. Underneath the Earth, at the center of the Earth, you have rock. In fact, the moon is the same, essentially, as the center of the Earth. We have a moon underneath the Earth, but obviously the Earth has plants and it has animals and it has fauna. It has all kinds of living stuff, and the moon doesn't. So what is the difference? Why is the moon a dead rock, and the Earth, which is a rock inside, why does it have life? Because on top of the rock, you've got the most powerful living substance on the planet, which is dirt. Now, it sounds funny when you say that, but to a farmer, they don't think it's funny. They know that the quality of their crops and their agriculture and the stuff that grows out of the ground is proportional directly to the quality of the dirt. So there's something special in the dirt. And what is it that's special in the dirt that makes the dirt so much different, that makes the Earth so much different than the moon, that this coating on the surface, the dirt or the soil, can create life? Well, it turns out that on top of that moon at the center of the Earth, that rock at the center of the Earth, you've got these microbes, bacteria. The technical name for these bacteria is lithotropes. Litho means stone, trope means eating. So you have stone eaters, bacteria, microbes, stone-eating microbes on top of the Earth. And these stone-eating microbes take the Earth, the rock, I should say, right? Which is inert. A rock doesn't do anything. If I take a rock and I put it in water, it's just going to sink to the bottom. It's not going to do anything. But these lithotropes, they can take the rock and they can make magic out of it. See, a rock is inert. It doesn't do anything because it's got all of the atoms squished together so tightly that nothing can happen. But what these lithotropes do is they take this rock with all the atoms squeezed really, really tightly, and they can spread those atoms out in a string. They can take the rock, which is inert, and they can spread those tight atoms up in a string. And they can make this string so that it has a string, like a pearl necklace, of individual atoms, instead of the atoms being all squished. And when it's strung out in a string, now, instead of being inert and not doing anything and sinking to the bottom, now it can do something very, very special. These atoms, because they're so tiny, can interact with water. And that creates magic. See, a rock, if I put it in a glass of water, it's going to sink. But if I take these long strings that have been secreted out by the lithotropes, pooped out, if you will, you know, so, I don't mean to be graphic, but that's essentially what's happening. They're secreting them out, okay, pooping them out, and into long strings, they can now interact with water. So if I take these long strings of atoms that came out of the rock, that came from the rock, out of the lithotropes, and I put them in water, now they'll dissolve and suspend in the water. And that creates magic, because the interaction between the atoms and the water is electrical. In fact, it turns this rock, which is inert, into an electrolyte. You've heard that term probably, electrolyte, right? An electrolyte is an atom that can interact with water and create electrical energy. In fact, the technical name for these long strings of atoms, is this making sense, by the way? Do you understand?
Oh, yeah. I'm just putting into skincare.
Okay, I'm going to get into skincare. I'll get into skincare. We all love the skin. Okay. So you got these long strings of atoms now, and they call them actually polyelectrolytes. You may have heard that term. Poly means many. Electrolytes, these long strings of atoms that can now interact with water, and they can generate an electrical charge. They're electrolytes, and they can interact with water, generating electrical charge. And getting into skin now, wherever you have electricity, you have magnetism, right? And so now you've got an electromagnetic compound that can pull in other nutrients. And this is what makes these polyelectrolytes so important for farmers, because farmers will sprinkle polyelectrolytes on the soil, and the soil will suck up nutrients more effectively because of the magnetic attraction coming from the polyelectrolytes. And farmers all know that if they sprinkle polyelectrolytes on the soil, or gardeners too, they'll get better plants. So what I thought of in the pharmacy when I was working with these, when I first started hearing about these things, was that maybe we can use these polyelectrolytes to pull ingredients into the skin. And it turns out that the same magnetic pulling effect that the polyelectrolytes have in the soil to pull nutrients, and I should let me quick digression here. Biologists today know that life began in the polyelectrolytes. And there's polyelectrolytes, when they combine with water, form something called clays. And biologists and evolutionary biologists believe that life began in polyelectrolyte clays, because the polyelectrolyte clays could pull in amino acids and vitamins, and that's how they think life began. When I started reading this, I thought, these would be the perfect ingredients for the skin if you use them with active ingredients like vitamin C and vitamin A and vitamin E and vitamin K, mostly nutrients, and amino acids and fatty acids. And it turns out that polyelectrolytes in skincare products support transdermal penetration of other ingredients, which is why we say always use your biomimetic mineral mist before you use your transdermal C serum, because it's all about transdermal. Remember, the booby prize is the stratum corneum. We want to be at the basal layer with the keratinocytes. But you know what, Leah? It's more than that. Because yes, you get penetration. You get transdermal penetration support with the polyelectrolytes. But remember, we're talking about calcium, and we're talking about nickel, and we're talking about potassium, and we're talking about chromium, and we're talking about selenium. We're talking about 80 essential minerals. So not only are these polyelectrolytes electrically charged and magnetic and pulling in other ingredients, so they support penetration, transdermal penetration, but they're nutritional on their own. They have their own nutritional properties. And there's more. Polyelectrolytes have an ability to pull in oxygen. So they support oxygenation of the tissue. So you get transdermal penetration, you get oxygenation of tissue, and you get nutrition. But there's more, because not only are polyelectrolytes able to pull in oxygen, but they're also antioxidants. The same molecule is an oxygenator and an antioxidant, the same molecule. There's nothing like that can oxygenate and protect against oxygen at the same time. And it's nutritional, and it's electromagnetic, so it's transdermal. But there's more, because polyelectrolytes are nature's most powerful chelating agents. So they're detoxifying. They have an ability to attract toxins and sequester them and prevent them from getting into the cell. So you've got an oxygenating agent. It's an antioxidant. It's nutritional. It's detoxifying, and it acts as a transdermal penetrant. And as if that wasn't enough, if you want more, they also pull in moisture. They pull in water. So they're hydrating ingredients on top of everything else. So they're antioxidants, they're oxidants, they're transdermal penetrants, they're nutritional, they're hydrators, and they're completely gentle and completely non-toxic. You can use as much of them as you want, and they have zero toxicity. They are the quintessential perfect active ingredient for the skin that supports the all of the benefits that you want from a skincare product, including oxygenation and hydration and antioxidancy, and nutritional. And I forgot, they also change the electrical milieu. They make the electrical environment of the skin more efficient. So you've got electricity and voltage and oxygenation and antioxidation and nutrition and transdermal penetration and hydration from one class of ingredients. Yeah, they're so perfect. They're ideal. And so to me, they're my favorite skincare ingredient of all. And by the way, when you take them internally, you also get antioxidant benefits. You
Yep.
also get oxygenation benefits. You also get hydration benefits. You
Mhm.
also get chelation benefits. They're incredibly important for the digestive system, for the intestine, for people who have intestinal health problems. They improve the absorption of nutrients from foods and from supplements through the intestine into the blood and into the cell from the blood. So they support penetration into the body and then into the cell. And the thing about this, from an internal perspective, Leah, is we're supposed to get them in our vegetables. This is why your mother said eat your vegetables, among other reasons.
Yeah.
Because they're supposed to come in through the soil and they're supposed to come in the vegetables. But because of poor farming techniques and over farming,
Mhm.
pesticides, and all the things that we do to corrupt our agricultural products, they
Mhm.
need to be efficient in these minerals. So by using them topically and using them internally, you're actually restoring and replacing nutrients that your body should have.
Mhm.
The perfect skincare ingredients, the perfect nutritional supplements taken internally.
No, absolutely. And I think this really helps because, a lot of my clients who don't like fully understand, I mean, it's a lot to wrap your head around. They're like, okay, well, I use a vitamin C, even, I use a THD or I use a vitamin A. Like, what's the difference between Truth Treatments and, this brand? I'm like, and now you've explained it. Like, this is why you say all the time, this is nutrition for your skin.
Yes, yes,
This is the exact conversation right here,
yes,
on
yes.
why, but it's hard to wrap your head around if you're not
It
understanding
is. You have to
what
understand a little
the
chemistry. And
yeah.
that's all true treatments are formulated intelligently. I didn't just
Mhm.
put ingredients in there because it's the latest thing to put in there. There's a logic to them because I'm a
Yeah.
healthcare professional. So
Mhm.
I'm focusing on the health of the tissue. And when I'm formulating a topical product as well as an internal product, I want to maximize the health changes that are
Mhm.
occurring in the skin. The skincare business is kind of funny. I've been in it for many years. You've been in
Hold
it for
on.
many.
My
What
light
happened to you?
turned off. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Hold on. I forgot my lights on a timer. My bad.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Ah. I was
Yeah,
like, did my electric go out?
the
Okay.
skincare business has this aura, this feel of superficiality. Even when I go to the shows, I go to the chemistry shows and the ingredient shows, the chemists out there, and they're all like, oh, there's not only so much you can do for the skin. I don't believe that as a
Mm-mm.
nutritionist. See, the word cosmetic comes from the word cosmos, comes from the Greek, which means to arrange. And so skincare is about arranging things. It's
Mhm.
superficial. But I think we're leaving health and beauty on the table if
Mhm.
we don't take advantage of nutrition, which doesn't just rearrange, it changes. It
Mhm.
creates healthy changes to the skin, not because of me, but because of God, because of nature, because of the divine force. This is how the body, internally as all the organs of the body, and topically as the largest organ in the body, is
Mhm.
designed to work with nutrition. And if we don't drive nutrients in topically, as well as take them internally through foods and through supplements and work on digestive health, we're leaving health and beauty on the table. And I want to change that. I'd have to be the craziest person in the world to get in the skincare business. I had to get in the skincare
Mhm.
business. And I learned my formulation skills by helping people in the pharmacy who were sick. When somebody comes in with eczema or acne, or a mom whose baby fell off their high chair and got a
Mhm.
gash on their head, or somebody who fell off their bike and they had a post-surgical cut or trauma in their body, skincare is serious to them. They
Mhm.
don't want to play the cosmetic game. They don't want to play the superficial game. They need serious medicine,
Mhm.
topical medicine. And because I'm a nutritionist, my favorite topical medicine is not drugs, it's nutrients.
Absolutely. Mhm. Yeah, and I feel like it's so important. I don't think people realize sometimes that yeah, our skin is an organ, and we want the best supplements, and we won't get certain supplements from Amazon, or it has to be something certified. And it's just
Right.
so funny that we treat our skin so differently sometimes. I don't. I want what's best, but yeah, we should be treating
Yeah, we're
our
not
skin.
nice to our skin. We don't present company excluded, because your people who are listening to this and
Oh,
people who follow you are
yeah.
not the average people.
No,
But
they're not.
as a culture, we don't respect the skin. If you could take a whole gob of cream and slather it on your body, or on your arm or your face or wherever, what is the implicit message there? That
Mhm.
there's nothing really in that. You know,
Mm-mm.
you couldn't do that with a drug. If you went to the pharmacy and got a bottle of amoxicillin, 30 pills, you had a cold, and you said, would you go, oh, I'm really sick. I'm going to take all 30 pills because I'm really
Right.
sick.
Mm-hmm.
No, you never do that because
Right.
you respect the medicine.
Yep.
I think skincare should be respectful of the skin. And by using ingredients that are already in your skin, and by the way, my products aren't natural. People say, are your products natural? They're not natural. I don't look for natural ingredients because, cow manure is natural. That
Right.
doesn't going to
Mhm.
help you with, you're not going to put cow manure on your face,
Some
but
people might.
maybe if it was, the
I've
point
seen some,
is
I've
that
heard some crazy stuff recently.
I've heard, I know they used to use guano. Have you heard of bat crap,
Oh gosh,
bat
I hope
poop?
they don't do that. Yeah.
Yeah. But here's what I was going to say is natural is the low hanging fruit. That's not natural is easy. What you want, and with True Treatments is I'm looking for ingredients that are already in your skin that
Mhm.
your skin knows what to do with. I came up with a word I call biogenic, meaning found in biology. And those are the ingredients I use. And all the ingredients I select are either in your skin or analogous to things that are already in your skin. And of all the things that are already in your skin, the most powerful ingredients are the vitamins, amino acids, minerals, and fatty acids. And those are the active ingredients that I choose to use.
Yes. And speaking of that, the products that I want to talk about today, because now we know why these minerals, the fulvic, the colloidal, um, all the ones you just went over, why they're
Right.
so important. They're going to elevate your skincare, and really it's what your skin needs to be healthy. Just like you said. And I kind of want to relate this back to, for me, like when I look at wine bottles, like they always talk about the soil, like, oh, the
Uh-huh.
soil was this,
Uh-huh.
the soil was this year. Well, yeah, we should care about the soil or the dirt and what's in it, because it
Yes.
does then create a better product, the product being our
Yes.
skin.
Yes.
So, I want to talk about the products that you have that are like my top favorite products. Of course, the biomimetic mineral mist. Wait, let me put
Right.
it on. There we go. We want to use this with all Truth Treatments products. It's going to help,
Yes.
like you just said, pull all of the ingredients that you're applying
Yes.
on top. Hold on one second. I don't know if you can see that. That you're applying
You
on
cutting
top.
out?
Oh, it just said we have a 10-minute timer.
Oh, okay.
We
Oh, okay.
I
Go
know, we're like
fast.
really quick. Yeah. So we want
Okay.
to apply we want to apply this with all Truth Treatments products because they're going to make all the ingredients go deep into the basal layer, like you
Yes.
said, where
Yes.
they belong and where that they can work.
Yes.
So of course we know that one. And then my second one here, the electrolyte facial mask. If you guys want a serious glow to your skin, use this. This is like our top selling mask. Anything you want to say about this
Yeah, it's a way of really leaving the minerals on your skin with a patch essentially, so they can get driven into the skin. And so
Mhm.
you leave it on the skin for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. It's
Yes.
great if you like baths. If you take
Mhm.
a bath, you put on before you go into the bath, and then the heat or the steam from the bath, if you take a warm bath, will further drive the minerals into your skin. And there's also sodium lactate and glycogen, a few other really cool ingredients in there too. So it all gets driven into the skin. And that's really, at the end of the day, we talked about the fulvic minerals, all the wonderful benefits they have. But at the end of the day, what this is about is penetration to the cell.
Yep.
Beauty, we have a saying, beauty begins at the cell. The
Mhm.
skin the skin is what we see, but we want to be at the level of the cell. So in my formulations, I'm always using transdermal ingredients. That's why we have these esters and the transdermal delivery matrix and the balm, because I'm interested in driving ingredients through the skin. Masking is another way to drive ingredients through the skin. The minerals, the fulvic minerals, they support transdermal penetration. And now we have the infused device, which also is a way of driving things into the skin. Our goal is to get to the cell with the
Right.
active ingredients. And the masks just further supports the delivery of the active ingredients to the basal layer and to the squamous layer and even to the dermis.
Mhm. Well, now that you brought that up, I did have a question because you did say that the minerals also oxygenate the skin or pull oxygen into the skin. In the
Correct.
last video, make sure that's in frame. The last video we talked to each other we actually talked about the infused system. But I've been using this, and I want to make sure I'm doing it right. I've been
Okay.
using this without the actual machine.
You
Can
don't
I
need it.
Okay,
Heck yeah.
that's what I've been doing because honestly, I'm like on a time crunch, and I know this is honestly where the medicine is.
That's
And
right.
like my
The
skin
machine
loves
just
it.
the machine's just another way of pushing things through, of
Yeah,
driving things through. So,
but
it's just a device, a transdermal support device. But no, the active ingredients are great. In fact, they're in addition to the fulvic minerals, which act as oxygenating agents, there's actually oxygen in two of those, a very special form of oxygen.
yes.
Oxygen is the gas, right? Well,
Hmm.
there's molecular oxygen, which is a very unusual form of oxygen in a molecular form in the complete O2 and in the prepare, which are two of those infused
Yes.
ingredients.
Well, and that's why I want to talk about this today because I don't think people realize how like you can buy this kit alone without the I keep calling it
Device.
a machine device. Thank you. Um, but like this is how I don't use the device. I just use these alone. So can you we have a few minutes left. Can you briefly tell us like one how to use this and then what results you can expect and like why it just gives you such a great glow and smooths fine lines and wrinkles and all that good stuff?
Oxygen brings blood, pulls in blood. So when you have oxygen to your face, you get this rosy glow. And there's multiple sources of oxygen, including the prepare and the complete O2 plus the fulvic minerals. So you're getting lots of ways of oxygenating the skin, which means better blood supply. Now, of course, better blood supply also means more nutrition to the skin, more detoxification to the skin as well, because it really is all about the blood. The blood is how in the Bible says the life of the body is in the blood, and that's true. The life force is carried into the blood. When you have more blood, you got more life force, and that's what accounts for that rosy glow. And even if people didn't know that, they just know that they look better when they glow,
Yeah.
right? And by the way, your skin looks so beautiful and glowy, and it's a sign of good health. It's a sign of blood supply. And that means more oxygen, more nutrition, and more detoxification. So you don't need to use the infused device, although the infused device does drive the ingredients in a little bit further. So the way you want to use it is there's three serums. There's the Nutriate serum, or sorry, the Prepare serum is first. The Prepare serum is the fulvic minerals, and it's also got alpha hydroxy acids, which support exfoliation. It's got sodium lactate in there, and it's got a whole bunch of amino acids. As well as glycogen, which is a cellular energizer, and something called phospholipids, which is very important for the cell barrier. And then let's see, what else did I put in there? I'm going by my memory. It's got a wide range of alpha hydroxy acids, not just glycolic acid, but a whole wide range of alpha hydroxy acid. That starts the ball rolling, gives you a little exfoliation, it drives in nutrients into the skin, and gets you ready for the Nutriate. The Nutriate is a tightener. It's designed to tighten the skin. It's got caffeine in there, and it's also got something called carnosine, as well as vitamin E, and then also the phospholipids. And then the third serum is the Complete O2 serum. And you can actually use the Complete O2 serum after you put your makeup on if you want to seal the makeup in, and it gives your skin
Okay, I'll
a
do
nice
that tomorrow.
finishing glow. And both the Prepare and the new Complete O2 have this molecular oxygen in there as well. And then the Complete O2 also has some tightening ingredients that gives you a nice tight finish to the skin.
It does.
But Kristen uses it after she puts on her makeup. Kristen uses the seal to seal in the makeup, or
Okay,
uses
I'll
the
do that.
to seal in the makeup.
Yeah, and these come with the
They
pads, and
come
I just use
right.
one. I use all three of those just on one. I just flip the pad over, and I mean it's beautiful. I love it. So, and I'm like, and I never really understood. I'm like, why does this work so well? Like I'm looking, and it's because of these minerals. Like I think this is like a missed opportunity in so much skincare and people's routine is understanding like we need these minerals, we need these nutrients in our skin. Like we just need them.
I'm gonna have to use that slogan. It's a missed opportunity.
It is a missed opportunity. You can
No, a
use it.
biomimetic mineral missed opportunity.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, I'll let you borrow it.
I'm going to take that. A missed opportunity.
Yeah,
That's
it
good.
is. I love it. It's perfect. Yeah. So, oh, we have 3 minutes left. Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I know we
Let me just say
briefly.
one last thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Let me
yeah.
just say one last thing, because I got a couple minutes here. So, what truth is, there's this thing called minimalism. Have you heard of minimalism?
Yes.
Minimalism is a thing in skincare now. Minimal ingredients, truth is one level up from minimalism. It's essentialism. It's just the essential stuff. We took everything else out. It's the chocolate of the chocolate ice cream, the apple of the apple pie. And that's why you only need 1 or 2 drops or a perfect dose spoon. But then it's got something else that we've done. Now, I don't know if you get on TikTok, you probably on TikTok, they have a thing called skin flooding, right?
Oh,
Skin flooding is the latest thing. You put a bunch of products on your skin, a bunch of different products. You put a bunch of one product, a bunch of another product, a bunch of another product. We allow you to skin flood with one product because we
mhm.
have up to almost 80% vitamin C in our transdermal C serum, almost 70% vitamin C in our transdermal C balm. We have super high concentrations of active ingredients, which allows you to skin flood with one product or two products. You don't need a bunch of product on your skin. You
Nope.
can skin flood with one or two drops. And so what Truth Treatments is, it's a combination of the two latest fads, minimalism, which I call essentialism, plus skin flooding. And you don't need to have a whole bunch of product in your skin to skin flood.
No, I love that. And, speaking of like minimalism, like sometimes minimalism, you think of like the bare minimum. Like you are still being a minimalist, but you, like you said, you're getting the best of what's available
Yes.
without needing all the steps. Like,
Yes.
no, I love that.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
love it.
I like
So,
to think the Truth Treatments are products for smart people.
they
It's
are.
like smart up until now, smart people had to buy the same products that, not so smart people had to buy. This is a product for people who are smart, for people who
Mhm.
don't want to put a lot of stuff on their skin, but still want to get the same kind of benefits that they would get from using a whole bunch of another product.
Which makes sense because I say this at least once a week. Like my clients and my customers are so smart, they're so savvy. They know ingredients at this point probably better than I do. And that would be why they love truth treatment. So yeah, that totally all makes sense.
Awesome.
All of this made so much sense.
Thank you, Leah.
Yes, thank you so much. We have 1 minute left, so thank you so much for joining me. If you guys have any questions, let us know down below. And we have another video scheduled in 2 weeks, and we will make sure to answer those for you. Thank you so much, Ben. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you. Great to see you.
You too. Bye bye.